Welcome. Good noon. Welcome to our weekly spiritual spa. Your Sunday spiritual indulgence is what we like to think of ourselves as. We're here to help you feel better if you're feeling bad, to help you feel even better if you're feeling fine, to help you clear the fog and clear your mind and your heart so that you can move on in your life. It's been a very moving week, especially the last 2 days, I think, as we remember and pay tribute to the events and the people and the fallen of 9/11. Surely this is a day that will live in infamy. Ernest Holmes, the author of The Science of Mind and the founder of religious science, used to open his radio and television shows with the words, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." So true. And the greater truth is that you can't not use it. In fact, you are using it all the time. It is done unto you as you believe, constantly, moment to moment, thought to thought. The important part of Dr. Holmes' admonition was to remember to use it for good. So I'm going to ask you to go within for a moment and consider this idea. We are here to remember who we are. We are children of creation. We are here to remember that we are created in the image and likeness of God, of creation, of the universe, of love, whatever you choose to call the creative motivating force of the universe. We are here to heal our misconceptions and to release whatever beliefs we may be holding that no longer serve us. We are here to learn how to use our divine inheritance to make our lives and our world a better place. We are here to awaken, to inspire, to uplift, and to heal ourselves and our world. If it feels right, repeat after me. Centered in spirit.
Centered in spirit.
I know that there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
That there is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
It is the intelligence.
It is the intelligence.
And the power.
And the power.
And the activity.
And the activity.
And the love.
And the love.
Behind all of creation.
Behind all of creation.
And it is the life within me.
And it is the life within me.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
And I accept it.
And I accept it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Wow.
Wow.
I hope you believe that. I trust that in time you will come to believe it, because what I know is this: it is provable. That which we believe, that which we follow, that which we accept as part of our own reality becomes part of our own reality. So let me check in with everybody for a moment. Happy noon. Good afternoon, Jennifer. Good afternoon, Heidi. Glad you're here. Good afternoon, Kirk. How is the universe treating you all today? What a great question. Ooh, Heidi says, with love and excitement. I like that.
Yay,
Whoa,
Heidi. Go, Heidi.
That's got promise. Hello, Laura. Glad you're here. Heidi had a breakthrough this week. Ooh, I want details. I want details, Heidi. I want details. Gimme. Gimme. How's Cac? How are you, Cac?
I'm great, thanks. Now,
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 today is kind of the first day that she's feeling human again. She had quite a reaction to her booster shot. And, well, she had quite a reaction to the second shot, too, but a real reaction, big time reaction to her booster. And she's up and around, and I'm trying to keep her kind of up and easy. So pray for me, will you? Jennifer wants details, too. Come on, Heidi. We will get details. When? When? We love details. Want to know what's going on in your life? Because this sounds really, really good. You've been on my mind this week, and that usually means something's going on. So, what's going on? Okay, help me here. Anytime anybody's studying for anything, I get thrilled. I just think that's the most wonderful thing in the world. But I need a definition of a well app. Can you give me that, please? Because I can't be the only one. Or if somebody else knows, jump on in and tell me, but I don't know what a well app is. So I'm going to wait and find out. I like the sound of it. I like the well the well idea. An app sounds like it's very 21st century, which I think is a good thing. It's time for most of us to move into it, don't you think? Since the calendar says we are now 21 years into it. Do you believe that? 21 years into the 21st century. Whoo! Yes! Jennifer's kids are in the process of moving into their house. Boy, that happened quick, didn't it?
it did.
Wow. Wow. Seems like it was just yesterday we were praying for the perfect place for them. Is it the perfect place, Jen, do you think? Or will it turn out to be? Let me know. Always have to know Mom's opinion. Being one myself, I know how important that is. I'm going to need more information here from all of you. Feed me. Feed me, feed me. I want to talk to you today, but I want to know about you too, because I care. I want to know what's happening in your lives. Because I know where most of you were 20 years ago, don't I? Laura says Castaic is a great place to live. Oh, yay! Well as a response to well buildings. Healthy living, lighting, sound, color, nutrition, dimension. Oh, Heidi, I love this. I love this. So, tell me, because my mind instantly goes to those commercials, and Jennifer Lopez is the only one whose name comes to mind immediately. But talking about looking for the well sign in the window that says that the building has been checked out, or the store or the restaurant or whatever has been checked out, for all of those things, that it supports, the building itself supports wellness. Am I correct? Yummy, 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 yummy. Silence. You're never supposed to let things go silent. I know that. But I'm so fascinated in what y'all are doing that it has my attention. So am I on the right track with my Jennifer Lopez commercials, which incidentally I think could be better. So, get there and talk to them about that because they don't really tell you very clearly what all of that is. I think it does too, Heidi. I think it does too. Um, all of your talents, all of your abilities, your interests, um, yeah. That's how I felt about ministry when it finally clicked, which took a little while. Um, but everything that I had done previously folded into it and more. How very exciting. Yes, Jennifer, I agree with you. I'm excited. I'm excited for the world. Heidi focusing her attention on something that not only uses all of her talents and studies and experience and beauty and thinking and makes the world a better place. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, you guys keep talking over there. I'm going to get to what I'm supposed to get to before my technical person yells at me. She won't yell
That's
at me. But she didn't disagree with me either. Um, so let me talk about this because it's really kind of taken over my life in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. And and I must guess only that it is because I'm supposed to share it with you. Um, I thought I had covered it spiritually pretty well on Wednesday. And I wasn't going to talk anymore about 9/11. Um, and I know that many of you may be 9/11'd out. You might be. There's been a lot. But after watching several of the specials over the past 2 days, well, I guess I'm not done yet. I kind of have to say more. And I'd really like you to stay and hear me out because this is not totally about 9/11. Mostly it's about you and me and us. On 9/11, most of us had focused our attention on the Twin Towers because it was, well, it just was, wasn't it? I don't know that I could find a word to describe what it was. And then the Pentagon. And then that other plane that didn't get as much of the attention as the first three planes got. But on 9/11, United Flight 93 was hijacked and then headed toward its target. But because of the courage and the bravery of the 40 people, passengers and crew, who had only minutes to call home and tell their families that they loved them, it was the only one of 4 planes that took off that morning that did not hit its target. The passengers fought the 4 hijackers and are suspected to have attacked the cockpit with a fire extinguisher and probably some boiling water. One of the flight attendants in her call home said she was boiling water. So instead of going on to wherever it was going to go, the plane then flipped over and sped toward the ground at something over 500 miles an hour, crashing in a rural field near Shanksville in Pennsylvania at 10:10 in the morning. All 44 people aboard were killed. So the intended target is not absolutely known. But theories include the White House, the United States Capitol, Camp David, or one of several nuclear power plants along the eastern seaboard. It might well have become the most famous of the planes had it not been for the bravery and the courage of the passengers and the crew. Dina Burton is the widow of Tom Burton, who was a passenger on Flight 93. In her interview, she talked of the last call from her husband while he and others prepared to stop the plane at any cost. And they knew what that cost had to be. Dina spoke gently of her advice to her husband, as she had been a former flight attendant. Sit quietly, she said, and do not draw any attention to yourself. To which he replied simply, no. At the end of her interview, which was both heart-wrenching and uplifting, she was asked, what do you hope from your fellow Americans, from your country, 20 years later? Her response was even more inspiring than her story. It's not just Tom's story, she said. It's the story of every person on that flight, coming together and serving the common purpose. That is the strength we draw from Flight 93. 20 years later, David Muir asked, 20 years later? "20 years later," she responded, 50 years later. The power that lies within something so small as a smile, a kind word, paying attention to someone, listening to someone, responding appropriately to someone. Just the small things that are expected of us that we can do, but sometimes don't. The best way to honor them is to take time, to think about what kind of difference you can make. Consider it and do it. Smile, she said. Look up. Pay attention to what is around you, to who is around you, and what their needs are. And then fulfill it. Over and over again in interviews with the survivors and with the families, one request shined through. The overarching plea from those who were most affected was, America, come together. They all talked about the feeling and the atmosphere on September 12th and begged us to return to that. Seth Godin posted a piece called "We Are Not Astronomers." In it he said this: unlike most of the sciences, astronomy is always done at a distance. You can see the stars, but you can't do anything about them. Sometimes the media would like us to believe that we're all astronomers, simply passive witnesses in a world out of our control. But the world is never out of our influence. Remembrance, connection, possibility, invention, empathy, insight, correction, care, and justice are all up to us. We not only observe, he writes, but we make changes happen. Our participation or apathy leads to a different future. The ocean is made of drops, and the drops are up to us. I would add, in case you missed it, we are the drops. The future is up to us. Seth asks, who else is going to care enough to make an impact? Someone else said, if not us, who? If not now, when? What are we waiting for? Another calamity? What are we to do? A million trillion different things. We are each called to do what is right for us, to do different things. As we listen to our hearts and our urgings, really listen, we come to know what that is. But more basically, we are called to be the best and the highest version of ourselves. We are called to respond to the call of humanity. We are called to the place and the time that is right for us. I talked on Wednesday about the impacts of the emails that Lloyd Cooper sent back to our church in Burbank from New York in the days and weeks following 9/11. Those emails are actually what I most clearly remember about the time. They were filled with stories about the respect, the generosity, the kindness, the humanity that filled New York in the aftermath of the attacks. Stories of people helping people, regardless of color or appearance or political beliefs. The emails were filled with hope and inspiration and the resilience that he found in the people. And perhaps because of his emails, I know that many of us felt the same emotions 3,000 miles away in California. What had been set in motion by the worst actions of humanity had in fact brought out the best of humanity. From border to border and coast to coast, we were one. We were in this together. People in California gave blood. People in Colorado went to ground zero to help where they could. People from Idaho sent handmade quilts. People from all over this great nation united in love and caring for one another. Yet we are a nation divided today. 20 years after one of the most uniting events in our history. 20 years after we cared about one another. How have we let this happen? I think my question for you today is this. Will it have to take another disaster to bring us back together? Can we only be united against a common enemy? And if there seems not to be one, do we then have to make one of one another? There is a common enemy out there. It is a pandemic that is affecting not just this nation, but the world. And yet we are divided over how to respond, about what our individual responsibilities are to that. All of the interviews and speeches I listened to in the past few days, all of them spoke to the need for unity, for a return to those high human ideals and actions and emotions that seem to bring out who we really are when we realize that we are one. When we stop becoming us and them, we realize that we are we. And when we accept that all are one, and that our differences are our strength, and our unity is our hope and our power, then we are powerful. So, what is our confusion? Are we one or are we not? Are we doomed to keep calling up catastrophes so that we can feign unity? Or can we unite and find our way past catastrophes? I have a Zen calendar in the kitchen. Cat has a cat calendar in the kitchen. We do. We have two calendars.
We share them.
We share them. We do indeed share them. We do indeed. We both read each other's calendars. This morning's Zen quote is from Rinpoche. And it says simply, becoming awake involves seeing our confusion more clearly. What do you suppose then is our confusion? Who do we want to be? Are we one? This, like the decisions of those on Flight 93, must be made both individually and collectively. I somehow doubt that any of those passengers asked themselves, do I want to be a hero? Or even, do I want to live? I suspect that because of the necessity of the moment, each of them passed those questions immediately by and went directly to what needs to be done and what is mine to do. History has made them heroes. Their actions made them heroes. Their decisions and actions were decidedly, truly the best of humanity. So then, for those of us remaining, those of us not set upon by a hijacked airplane or the roof caving in, where's the confusion? What is keeping us from being the best we can be? May I dare to suggest that in times of confusion or doubt or despair, that we ask ourselves, why am I feeling like this? Why am I angry or apathetic or confused? And then ask ourselves, what does that tell me about me? What is the truth? God is either all there is or there is nothing. That's kind of my feeling. That's the truth. And if God is all there is, if Spirit is all there is, and how can it not be? Then I must be that as well. And so now the question is, what needs to be done? what needs to be done. And what then shall I do? How then shall I be? Sometime over the weekend, in one of the interviews, someone said, we don't have to believe the same thing, but we do have to respect one another. Humanity. Human unity. It's a beautiful place to begin. It's another blue sky day, just as it was yesterday. Just as it was 20 years ago. But the scenery has changed. The Twin Towers are gone, replaced by a beautiful memorial. The condos in Florida have fallen to be replaced by, well, who knows what. But something better, something safer, that I'm sure of. The spire of Notre Dame will rise again. There is something about the collapse of what is that is both deeply disturbing, but which also contains within it a kind of unspoken promise. Out of this curse, a blessing will arise. Out of this fire, a phoenix will rise. Out of this ending, a new beginning will rise. Out of an act of hate, love rises. One of the firefighters of Engine Company 7, FDNY, all of whom somehow survived, said that it is not so much the severity of the event that alters who you are. It is how you interpret it that makes you who you are. We have all survived something. We have all risen above the ashes. We are all vulnerable. But we are not weak. And there are a million things we can do. What calls to you? What speaks to your heart? What difference can you make? Pick one. There is a website. There's always a website that says, shine a light. Do a good deed. And they say 20 years after 9/11, we're inviting you to shine a light. To take a moment to pay tribute by posting and sharing one act of kindness, charity, or service. Do something today. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be a start. give some thought, give some time, give some energy in remembrance and in honor of those who gave all. Then post what you have done or will do at 911day.org. Real simple, 911day.org. It's time to step up. It's time to be heroic in whatever way you are called. If not us, who? If not now, when? It's a beautiful day. Make it even more beautiful by your participation in it. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but the choir sings, and people listen. Well, then, what have you been up to? Good girl, Jen. Yeah, see, it really is. It really is all about 912. 9/11. Somebody talked about the twin sisters of humanity. And I don't remember their exact words, but it came down to construction and destruction, love and hate. The hate was answered with love. Instead of going within and feeling sorry for themselves, people reacted to 9/11 with 9/12, with love and humanity, which is a good word. Human unity, respect, care. Suddenly, there were no differences. We were all in this together, regardless of our color, or our size, or our ethnicity. It wasn't New York versus California. It was us. So it's not about me versus you or them. It's about us. How do we see beyond the differences or celebrate the differences and act as one? There's the challenge. And I think it's different for each of us. I really do. I don't think there's one answer. I think the answer, if there is one, is to just be the best version of yourself all the time. I know that's challenging. I got it. I'm not the best of me all the time. I'm the best of me some of the time. And I know I'm often the best of me when I'm with you. So we bring out the best in each other, don't we? How do we do that more, and how do we share that with the other we's out there, which is everyone? Oh, I'm with you, Jennifer. Yeah. There are no easy answers. Except, may I say, and just as I say that, I had an idea, so let me speak it. Because your question is, why do we find it difficult to maintain that level of caring, and why? And I think part of it is that, at least for a moment, we are all focused on the same thing. And instead of reacting, we respond in the best possible way. There is a power for good in the universe, which means there's a power for good within you. That's its natural inclination. But when we get distracted, when we fail to pay attention, when we just don't want to be bothered, we forget that there is a higher thing within us. Our vulnerability is our strength, or part of it. How often do we tell ourselves, I just don't want to do that right now. I just don't want to react to that right now. I just don't want to be bothered. But in a moment of crisis, I think we set all that aside. We're focused on on how can I help? How can I be the best that I can be? What is mine to do in this moment? God help us, I hope we don't have to keep creating catastrophes, because it doesn't last. It's beautiful in the moment, but it doesn't last. We have to find a way to make it last. Yeah, that was a great quote, Jack. Thank you for that. We don't have to wear the same uniform to have unity. And we won't. But I think to capture the moment and then keep it in our hearts, keep it in our hearts, and continue to ask ourselves, what can I do that will promote unity? What can I do right now, in this moment? Part of, I think, means that we have to stop saying and seeing and thinking and feeling us and them, and recognize that whether we or they like it, we are all one. We're all living on the same continent. We all salute the same flag. We may not all acknowledge the same president, but that's just now. If we can see the temporariness of things and acknowledge it and do what we can to make things better, but not buy into us and them. We've had one civil war in this country. We don't need another. And was that not enough of a catastrophe? Study up on the statistics of what was created during the Civil War, and I think you will determine never to be part of another. The losses on both sides, the deaths on both sides. Brothers shooting at brothers. It could come to that again. We must not let it. Mm-hmm. Good point, Jennifer. She says that in a crisis, the work is short-term. Yeah, this isn't going to last forever. So right now, I'll be kind. Right now, I'll do the right thing. To continue, she says that level requires effort and conscious thought, which we may not want to do right now. This is one of those days. I think we have to get past that. What am I called to do in this moment? Okay, fine. You know you'll feel better if you do it. You know you will. You just kind of don't want to do it right now. Do it. Listen to that. There's a little voice, isn't there? There's a little voice that says, come on. You can do this. And there's another little voice on the other side that says, I don't want to. I'm going to be inconvenienced. I'm tired. I've done enough today or in this lifetime. But you know that little voice is still in there calling. I love the biblical stories that talk about God calling people 3 times. And you kind of know the first time they went, yeah, and the second time they went, I don't want to. And the third time, generally, they responded, although not always enthusiastically. What's to be done? In this moment, in this instant, what is to be done? With God, all things are possible. And you cannot be without it. So, here I am, God. Send me. The instructions are all there. Oh, indeed, Jennifer, we are still feeling repercussions from that war because it's deep. It's deep. Let us not create another one. Let us be part of the solution. Let us be one. Let us pray. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus. Find something lovely to look at. Something lovely to think about. What might be lovelier than a world at peace? If you have a prayer request, please put it in the chat box. I'll catch it. And know with me that regardless of the situation or the appearances, regardless of the circumstances, no matter how large the challenge or the threat may seem, you are with God, always. Always. And with God, all things are possible. And the best is highly probable. And the best within you, the best of you, is unity with that. And with all of the other millions, billions of godlings that cover the face of the earth. One. 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 In us, as us, through us, God continues each day of the world to go forth into creation. To shine the light, to be the love, to be the activity of creation itself. In us, as us, through us, we are one. And so I know today that there is no separation, no division, no us, no them. There is only right action and love and unity. We are one. we are one. And so I pray today for peace throughout the world. Poise within every individual, and the power to create unity. We are one. And from this day forward, we know what to do, how to be one. And we act on that. In remembrance of that day 20 years and 1 day ago, let us be the response. Let us not just promise, but keep our promise to make a difference, starting today. And then let us post what we have done as a sign to the world that good is happening once again. That 9/12 is the day we will ultimately remember and celebrate. And though we mourn on 9/11, as is appropriate, let us celebrate on 9/12 the good, the peace, the power, the presence that rises up out of the ashes, the good, the love that comes as a direct response to the destructive, to the hate, to the misguided. Let us hold high the torch of truth and keep the path lit for all. And let us be bearers of the light, talkers of the truth. Let us be one and act accordingly. In deepest thanks for the spirit that shines within and all about and around each of us, for the spirit that is each of us, and for the way that it shines in the world. I give thanks. And let it be so.
And so it is.
And so it is. We are indeed, Laura. We are indeed. We have a closing song. Katy Perry. I like that. Let us all do what we are called to do, whatever that may be. It will make the world a better place. Find within you the spirit to get it done. It has been a most beautiful day. Will you say after me? Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
And life is in all my affairs.
And life is in all my affairs.
I think it.
I think it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
And I accept it.
And I accept it.
just the way that it is,
just the way that it is,
and just the way that it is not.
and just the way that it is not.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Thank you. God bless you. God is with you. Go get 'em.